Well, we're getting closer and closer to Avengers Infinity War, so we thought today we'd look back at the past 10 years of Marvel movies and kind of give our top 5 favorites. Hey movie fans, so we're getting really close to Avengers Infinity War, and we are getting really excited. We're actually going through all the Marvel movies that I own, getting ready for Avengers Infinity War, and to see the death of Captain America, because it's gonna happen eventually. So today we thought we'd do something a little fun and just kind of give my and Heather's picks for our top 5 favorite Marvel movies. Now, a lot of the movies on this list, they're very similar, but they may not be in the same order.
Right.
Like, I have certain ones that are on her list that are going to be in a different order. However, for our number 5 pick, it's actually the same. This is the only one that is the same for placement and for movie. So Heather, what is our number 5 favorite Marvel movie?
Thor 3.
Or Thor Ragnarok, either one. So I actually had exceedingly high expectations for Thor Ragnarok before it came out. Not because I liked the Thor franchise. I liked Thor 1 a lot. What did you think of the first Thor?
I liked it. I actually was debating whether I wanted that one or this
Ragnarok?
one.
Okay.
Yeah. I was debating if that was going to make the list or not. So I did like it a lot.
I liked the first Thor, but that wasn't what was getting me excited because Thor Ragnarok was coming off the back of what is often regarded as the worst Marvel movie, which is Thor the Dark World, which I don't know if I've shown you that one.
No.
You don't really miss anything important other than there's an Infinity Stone in Thor the Dark World, but other than that, it's really not that good. I was excited for Ragnarok because the director was Taika Waititi, who is the director of one of my favorite, obscure comedies called What We Do in the Shadows, which, if you have not seen my top 5 underrated Halloween movies, I think that was my number 1.
Yeah,
I think
it
it
on there
is.
for sure.
Because I really liked that one. It's a very obscure comedy, so I thought he would bring a fresh take to Thor, and that's what it really needed. What did you like about Ragnarok?
The humor. I liked how it was really funny. I could understand it for the most part. I have trouble understanding certain movies sometimes, but I liked the humor. I thought
It was very different humor.
Yeah.
It was quirky.
It was quirky and clever. The brightness, all the colors, because that was fun.
Yeah, it was very vivid. Thor Ragnarok fully embraced all of its kind of outlandish color palettes and schemes and just had fun with it. It's the most fun I've had in a Marvel movie just because of how out there it got at times.
I also like the new characters. I don't remember her name, but that girl.
Valkyrie?
Yeah, I really liked her, and then the one you were going to mention.
I love Korg. That's actually voiced by director Taika Waititi. I really like him. He's brought a new sense of humor. At number 4, for me personally, I have Captain America Civil War. Now, I really like this one. The only complaints I had with Civil War it has kind of a hard time with its balancing act, and that's just because of how many characters are in it, but I do appreciate that it's still very much just a Captain America story, as opposed to the Civil War comic is Captain America versus Iron Man. They're two respective teams over an ideology, which is essentially what the movie tried to do, but it still felt like a Captain America story, and not just Avengers 2.5 like some people have kind of been saying it is.
Yeah.
Plus, I know you appreciate it. It gave us the best intro to Spider-Man ever. Tom Holland's Spider-Man is... We'll talk more about him later, but what did you really like about Civil War? Was it the characters, the action? What really stood out to you the most about Civil War?
Definitely the characters. I'll say later on, but I really like Cap. And just how the story progresses so easily and you can follow it. Again, I can follow things, and it's fun too.
The airport scene is one of the best Marvel action scenes to date. It was well shot. The sides were divided clearly of this person aligns with this person, and that makes sense. Granted, it's not as much of a ethical debate as it is in the comics of, I could see both sides. You clearly side more with Cap on this.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Plus, this movie does a fantastic job of introducing new characters, but not making them feel out of place. I had issues with Batman v Superman with Wonder Woman just kind of popping in and
very
being
end,
like,
the very
just,
end.
hey, I'm here to clearly set up Justice League, just like the
Right.
Aquaman cameo and the Flash cameo.
Yeah.
Civil War almost has the same thing, but it works this time. If you meet Black Panther, you meet Spider-Man,
Right.
but they feel organic to the story, and you're like, I want more of these characters, and they don't feel awkwardly shoehorned in. At number 4, we do have another team-up movie for Heather's number 4, and my number 3, actually, so we're just gonna kind of kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah.
Heather, what's your number 4 movie?
The Avengers.
The first one.
Yeah, first one. I think it's because all the new characters, well, we've seen most of the characters before and they all coming together. I like their individual personalities and their individual strengths. I think that's really cool. Again, you know, there's certain characters I like more than others, but I think you see them come together just to fight Loki and just to do what they need to do.
Yeah, I don't know, it's just a concept that you're just standing there going, how has this not been done sooner?
Right.
Of like, now it just seems like commonplace that, yeah, team-up movies can happen. They can be really good. I think the writing worked incredibly well for
Yeah.
Avengers. The dialogue was very well. Like you said, all the characters were very well defined. This was back when I still liked Iron Man.
Yeah.
The past couple movies, he's really just... he's not the character that he used to be. But in Avengers, I liked his character of the cocky, but yet still, at the end of the day, cares about people. Blending with the more old school patriotism of Captain America, mixed with the kind of fish out of water elements with Thor, the completely wastedness of Hawkeye, at least in the first one. The first Avengers, Hawkeye does not do much. They remedied that in the next one.
He's still there. He's still doing his part, but yeah, I know
Yeah,
what
he's
you're
mainly
saying.
brainwashed for the first one, but thankfully they remedied it for Age of Ultron. They just couldn't make a good movie out of Age of Ultron, but the first Avengers, it just broke a lot of ground, of just changed the superhero game, and I'm glad it was just a really fun, enjoyable movie.
Yeah.
It took 6 years for us to eventually get some payoff with that Thanos end credit scene, but what amazes me about the Avengers movies as a whole, and it starts at the very beginning with the first one, of you can watch just the Avengers movies, like Avengers, Age of Ultron, and then Infinity War, and those themselves could be a self-contained trilogy. There's a member in our family that it really likes the Avengers movies in particular. That's their favorite movie, so they kind of just... they like those more than the rest of the Marvel movies, and that's the one that they really latch on to. They really can follow just the Avengers movies, and so I'm sure there's people out there that are like, okay, just let me know when there's the next Avengers team up. If you're one of those people, you can still follow the Avengers story, and they do a good job with the first one of, yes, these are the characters, it's so awesome to see them together for the first time. And it never really gets old. I've seen Avengers countless times, but when they do that panning shot of all of them in a circle together, that's still just as cool as that first day that I saw it.
I would say it's also a good movie. I only know so much about comic book movies and comics. I think anyone can enjoy it. You can, like you were saying, anyone can just pick up and watch it, and you can follow it like you were saying earlier.
It's straightforward. It's well written. Just here's the thing. Here's the driving force of the movie. Heroes want to stop or protect that thing.
Right. A good story.
It's easy enough to follow.
Yeah.
So at number 3, Heather, what do you have for number 3? Because my number 3 was Avengers.
Right.
Your number 3 would be?
Was Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one.
Okay, and why?
I really liked it because I had heard of the comic, but I didn't know anything about it. So it's a whole new territory. All the characters were so unique. The storyline was so unique. It was super funny. Like, now, you know, kids all around, they know who Star-Lord is. They know who Groot is. Like, you know, these are the characters. Rocket, the raccoon. Like, they're just funny and they're quirky, and I don't know. The whole idea of the story was... it's
different.
Unique. It was different. I know it follows... How closely related is the comics, you know?
I don't know. The Guardians, it follows more the newer Guardians, I think. I have some Guardians of the Galaxy comics, but they're older ones, so the roster's different. But from my understanding from the newer comics, they're pretty close, but they don't follow a specific story arc like Batman Under the Red Hood movie would, or something like that. Like, it adapts different story elements. I think what stood out for me with Guardians was, I wouldn't say Marvel was getting stale, but there was a certain formula that they were following, and Guardians really shook that up. Marvel's really good about, if they feel like they're starting to settle into a trend, then something new will come along. Winter Soldier was different than any other Marvel movie before that, feeling more like a spy movie. Guardians felt more like an out-and-out comedy adventure, like a throwback. Thor Ragnarok felt like a straight up comedy. SpiderMan Homecoming felt more like a John Hughes 1980s high school comedy. Like every once in a while when Marvel starts to feel like they're kind of settling and they feel formulaic, they freshen things up, and Guardians of the Galaxy was the first one that really felt like they freshened something up to feel like, what is this? You're right. People before this didn't know who Star-Lord was, didn't know who Groot was. Now they're household names. To
go about the throwback you mentioned, it's like a throwback to 80s and all that.
Oh yeah.
We both agree. We love the soundtrack. I think that's one of the reasons why. It's just
first
so
one was
fun.
better, I think. The soundtrack for Volume 2 wasn't as good, but yes, the soundtrack set the table, I think.
There's songs that we've heard before, and you know, like your parents have heard them before and whatever, so it's just like, it's fun to watch with your family.
At number 2 for you, what do you have for your number 2?
Captain America, the original one.
The First Avenger, I think is the subtitle. Yeah, Captain America, the First Avenger, which... What is it about that one that stands out to you in particular?
Definitely, I think it's the whole story of, you know, he started as this, he was kind of a scrawny guy, and he wanted to be in the army because that was, like, his desire in the, you know, the time period.
Which, we talked about this when we were watching, the special effects that they use on Chris Evans to make him, like, scrawny and just really small, those are incredible.
Right.
He looks...
Right. He was so tiny, I think, well, he was like
frail.
90 pounds supposedly.
If that, yeah.
But yeah, I like that. He was, you know, he started off this and then people beat him up, but it's part of, you know, of life. Everyone, you know, has been picked on before. Everyone's been, you know, essentially beat up. But he just kept going and pressing on. And
I could do this all day.
Right. His dream, you know, with his friend, with Bucky, it was to be in the war and to fight for his country because he really wanted to be a hero and a good example and a leader. And that's one of the reasons why I love this movie so much, because he's the great example of America.
And it's just, I like his character, by and large in the Marvel Universe, doesn't change. He's still the Boy Scout that he was before he got the special serum.
Right.
And his character is consistent. He's just the all-around good guy. We've talked about this before, but I think my favorite scene in the First Avenger is when they're doing basic training, and he just shows how good of a person he is every day when they throw the dummy grenade on the ground, and he's just like, I know I don't do much, but if nothing else, I can stop the grenade, so he just jumps on it, even though it's a toy grenade. He doesn't know that. And then you said your favorite is the flagpole.
Right.
When he pulls it down.
Yeah. Because it doesn't matter if he's going to keep trying. He's going to give that effort. Even though he wasn't the strongest guy, he wants to do his part.
Yes. And then, to be fair, by and large, the love interest in Marvel movies aren't particularly strong, I don't think. But Peggy Carter is a good character.
Yeah.
I liked her a lot in First Avengers, and her story is very good. Not the TV show, but like her First Avengers role, and then even her role in Winter Soldier, which is incredibly tragic. That's hard to watch, but she's just a very good character. Now, for your number 1 pick is also my number 2, so we're going to also kill those 2 birds with 1 stone for this. So what is your number 1, my number 2?
Spider-Man Homecoming, that just came out last summer.
Yeah, so we talked earlier about how much we love Tom Holland in Captain America Civil War, and it just felt like Spider-Man to me. So before we dive into Spider-Man Homecoming, a little story with Civil War of, I think Captain America Civil War actually has my all-time favorite Marvel end credit scene when he's back at his house after that nice little Germany excursion in the airport, and he checks his wrist and he has the spider signal on the roof. Because as a kid growing up reading a lot of Spider-Man comics, I never thought we would ever get the spider signal in a movie, because I thought that was a little kind of out there. Like, we ride the Spider-Man ride at Universal, and the opening of the ride is always the spider signal flashing across the wall. I don't care if I've ridden that 100 times, I'll always get a big goofy grin on my face when I see the spider signal, because that means Spider-Man. So I kind of knew from that point on, when I saw the spider signal, Spider-Man's in good hands. And then when Homecoming shows up, I wasn't wrong. So what was your thoughts with Spider-Man Homecoming?
Well, I want to first say, like, I'm a little bit of... I gravitate towards Spider-Man anyway. He's my favorite character ever. But I loved Homecoming because, for one thing, it's Spider-Man. It's quirky. He is truly who he is. You know, Peter Parker, Tom Holland plays the role so well, both sides. The hero and the teenager. And his character, I think, brought forth so much goodness in the story. Like, everyone else did really well too, but he was,
he was Spider-Man.
Exactly. And it was just fun, it was the story, he's at this science and technology school, he's growing up, doing his stuff.
Midtown High, I think, Midtown, they kept that from the comics.
And so I just think, and he's there, he's gonna support his friends no matter what, if he's Spider-Man or if he's
Peter.
Yeah. Like when he saved them from that building on that elevator. Like, that was really cool. And there's so many reasons to like this movie. I don't know.
The suit was perfect.
Yeah.
I think Vulture has to be one of my favorite MCU villains. Michael Keaton did a fantastic job as Vulture. I think one of the really underappreciated and defining moments for SpiderMan Homecoming is when the ferry boat cracks in half and he tries to save the day, and ultimately Iron Man tries to come in and be all mad and yell at him. But the first thing, even before Iron Man starts yelling at him, the first thing Spider-Man asks is everyone okay? Showing he really cares about the little person. Like, I really like at the beginning when he's just trying to do all these little chores here and there of, like, stopping a bike thief or stopping somebody trying to break into their car. Spider-Man has always been the people's hero. He's been the champion of the little people of New York. He's synonymous with New York, essentially, of always swinging through the city. And it was just nice to see, I don't know, with Marvel movies, it's a lot of superheroes are up here and people are down here.
Yeah,
it was nice to see someone interacting with the everyman and genuinely caring about them and being the eyes on the ground, almost, and just feeling like Spider-Man. If I have one complaint about Homecoming, and you and I have talked about this before, I would like to see, going forward, Peter make more of his own things and not rely on stuff people have made for him.
His suit.
Yeah, because the Peter Parker I know is incredibly brilliant and makes most all of his own gear. And I thought Karen,
he's a smart guy.
While a fun addition, I thought the AI Karen in his suit was a little overkill.
Yeah.
It felt too much like Iron Man Mini than Peter Parker.
I agree with that too. It was kind of cool, but it was over the top. Like, especially when he was trying to learn it and there was like, oh, there's so many
options to it.
Choices.
Yeah,
it was too much. And even he was overwhelmed. He's like, no, I just want this off. Or, he wanted to work it right.
To which I actually think this is like the early stages of Spider-Man, and as we progress through these new Spider-Man movies, I think it's going to be like the refining process too. We think Spider-Man's perfect now, but I think give it one or two more movies and he'll be like perfect Spider-Man of like, I think the final shot of whenever these new Spider-Man movies are done will be him swinging through New York.
And definitely,
like the classic.
The actor, he's going to be growing too. He's young and he's going to be...
He genuinely looks like he's in high school, not like Tobey Maguire, who looks like an awkward late 30s dude in high school, or even Andrew Garfield looked a little too old for high school.
He did look older, yeah.
But Tom Holland, in one movie alone, just solidified his spot as Spider-Man to us. But not just that, they made a good movie around the character of Spider-Man with a relatable villain, strong supporting cast. For my favorite all-time Marvel movie, well, MCU movie, it's a little different. My favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, Captain America, The Winter Soldier. This one blew away all my expectations. Now, I liked but didn't love the first Captain America. I think it might have been the World War setting of just kind of too old school for me to really care at the time. But now I'm older, I do like it more than I did before. I think just going back in time, I don't know, made me a little disinterested. It was fine, but by no means my favorite, so I didn't have the highest expectations for Winter Soldier. When it came out, you and I saw opening night, and we were both blown away by it, because visually, like, the cinematography was different, because it was the Russo brothers' first movie, so they've now done Winter Soldier, Civil War, and they're doing both the Infinity War movies, so they know how to do large crews, and Winter Soldier felt different to me. Different. It felt tighter. Like, what do I mean by that? Of, like, more focused. Like, it was basically just Captain America and Black Widow through most of the movie, and then you had Falcon, who I I think he is by far the most underappreciated Avenger right now, and that's due in no small part to the fact that I just love Anthony Mackie as an actor. I first saw him in the movie The Adjustment Bureau, which not enough people have seen. I love The Adjustment Bureau, but I really liked Falcon. He was a good addition. Frank Grillo from one of our favorite movies called Warrior is in it as, well, kind of Crossbones. I'm still kind of disappointed that we didn't really get Crossbones. He died way too soon. But Winter Soldier, it blew away any expectations I had and kind of made me hold Marvel movies to a higher standard. What experiences did you have coming out of Winter Soldier?
I remember, like you said, we went in there and just the whole experience on the opening night, like, it was really cool. I don't remember much about it, honestly, but I remember I enjoyed it, and it's one of those, like, like he said, we're going through all of the movies, Marvel movies, and I'm excited to see it again. So as much as you talk about it, it's been a while since you've seen it. I remember I also got really excited because that was the first time we got a name drop of Stephen Strange. Granted, that didn't pay off for a couple more years, but what Winter Soldier set up, it single-handedly turned my opinion around of Captain America, because I liked but didn't love him in the First Avenger. He wasn't my favorite Avenger in the First Avengers. That actually probably was Thor, believe it or not. But then Winter Soldier made me just go, oh, okay, I can get behind you as a character. And then there's some truly good emotional moments in Winter Soldier too, with not just Bucky beating the life out of Captain America and Captain America saying he's going to be with him till the end, but when Captain America finally meets up with Peggy again, and she's very much clinging on to life and still has Alzheimer's, and that's really hard to watch, because it's almost Captain America's first time kind of seeing how much time he's lost being an icicle, and it's really hard. It's just a fantastic, well-balanced movie. There's some good humor, fantastic action. I just was always blown away by Winter Soldier, and it's, to me, the best Marvel movie to date. Maybe Infinity War will top it, but we'll have to find out at the end of April. Well, what do you guys think? What are your top 5 favorite Marvel movies of all time? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, if you like what you see and want to see more, subscribe to the channel, or find me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at Uncharted Media. Stay sharp, movie guys and gals!